Hey everyone, this is Heather with the Potomac Bead Company. Today I'm going to show you how to make one of our new bracelets called the Vertebrae Bracelet. This bracelet consists of SuperDuos, as you can see here in the middle portion or the vertebrae part of the bracelet. So SuperDuos as well as 1.8 millimeter cubes on the outside. This is based on a herringbone stitch for the middle portion, and then on the outside edges is actually a peyote based stitch. This is a very it's a very fun bracelet. It's very pretty and easy to do. So what you'll need is a couple of grams of the SuperDuos, and I use probably 8 grams of my cubes, and like I said, it'll be 1.8 millimeter. You'll also need a toggle and a clasp, and I used sterling silver for this project. It's a very this bracelet is nice. It's kind of stiff in a little way, so it does have a sturdy effect to it because you will be going in and out multiple times. You'll need a size 10 or 12 beading needle and some wildfire thread. For this bracelet, I used 0.008 inch wildfire. And the colors that I'm going to use today is going to be a turquoise, blue, as well as a metallic gold. It's actually a dark bronze metallic Miyuki cube in 1.8 millimeter. And then I'm going to use a black color thread, and so go ahead and get your supplies, and I'm going to show you how to start this bracelet. Okay, so now that I've got my black thread strung on attached to a size 10 or 12 beading needle, I'm going to go ahead and pick up 3 SuperDuos onto my needle. I'm going to drop that down, leaving approximately 6 inches for a tail, and then I'm going to take my needle through all 3 of the SuperDuo holes that I went through. I'm going to take my needle through them one more time. And what that's going to do is create a little circle. And I'm going to pull on both ends. And I'm going to take my needle back through the next SuperDuo in line to kind of complete this circle, just like that. So this is pretty much the beginning of the bracelet. As you can see, I'm going to use this string for my closure or for my clasp. And at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle back through one more of the bottom hole of my SuperDuo, and I'm going to start my embellishments on the side portion, and at this point I'm going to pick up 2 cubes, take that through the top hole of my SuperDuo, and I'm going to pull. And at this point I'm going to pick up 2 SuperDuos, and then oops, I just lost my SuperDuos. Pick up 2 SuperDuos onto your needle, and then take your needle through this top hole of the next SuperDuo, and that's going to create your herringbone. This is a SuperDuo herringbone. It's a modified stitched. And now at this point I'm going to pick up 3 of my cubes, and I'm going to take my cubes up the second hole of the SuperDuo on the outside. I'm going to pull so it's nice and tight, just like that. And at this point I'm going to pick up 2 SuperDuos, take my needle up through the top hole of my top SuperDuo, my second SuperDuo, and pull. And then I'm going to pick up 3 cubes, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to take my needle down through the top hole of my top SuperDuo. Just like that. And at this point, this is when you're going to continue the pattern. You're going to pick up 2 SuperDuos and take your needle down that second hole of the bottom SuperDuo, And now I'm going to add my 3 cubes. And I'm going to take them up that second hole of the bottom SuperDuo of my bracelet. You're going to pull. And this is your pattern, and you're going to continue this pattern until you've reached the length of your bracelet. And I'm going to show you how to finish off so that it's not going to be confusing for you. So go ahead and complete the length, leaving about 1/2 inch for your clasp and your toggle. Okay, so now that I've gotten to the desired length of my bracelet, I'm going to show you how to turn your project around and fill in your peyote stitch. So to do that, I'm just going to move that out of the way for you. You should be coming out of either the top or the bottom hole, whichever one of the top hole, either the top or the bottom SuperDuo of the top hole, second hole. And what I'm going to do, instead of adding just one SuperDuo, instead of adding 2 SuperDuos, I'm actually just going to add 1 SuperDuo. And then I'm going to take my needle down that bottom SuperDuo, that second hole of my bottom SuperDuo. And at this point, I'm going to add 2 of my cubes. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this around so that you guys can see a little bit better. I'm going to take my needle down the first set of cubes on this side, as well as one of the SuperDuos. And that's where my needle should be coming out of. And I'm going to pull so it sits like that. Now at this point, I'm going to take my needle down the SuperDuo in front, that second hole, the bottom hole of it. I'm just going to follow my thread here. And then I'm going to take my needle, what I'm doing is crossing to the other side. And then I'm going to take my needle down the top SuperDuo, that second hole of my top SuperDuo, and I'm going to pull. What I want to do is I want my needle to come out of that cube. So I'm going to take my needle down the next SuperDuo, that top hole of that SuperDuo, and pull, and then take my SuperDuo up that cube, just 1 cube, the very last cube of the first set of 3. So my needle should be coming out of the cube. And at this point, what you're going to do is just add, you're going to pick up 1 cube, and you're going to take it down the first set of cubes, the first cube of the second set of cubes that you have, and pull. And then take your needle down 2 SuperDuos, like if you can follow my needle. I'm going to take my needle down 2 SuperDuos that are the herringbone, and I'm going to pull. Because now I'm trying to get my project, I want my needle to come out of this cube, if you can see. And so I'm just going to follow my thread. Now I'm going to take my needle down. I'm flipping it around. I'm taking it down these 2. The bottom SuperDuo, the second hole of, or the first hole of my bottom SuperDuo, and the second hole of the SuperDuo underneath it. And take that and then pull. And then I'm going to take my needle down. I feel like I'm creating a shadow here. I'm going to take my needle down that cube. If you can see, I'm going to take it down that cube because I want my thread to come out of that cube. And now I'm going to put on a cube and then take my needle down just the next cube in line, as well as 2 SuperDuos that are sitting up next to each other. If you can't don't force your needle. If you can't get your needle down those 2 SuperDuos, that's fine. Take your time. Take your needle through 1 SuperDuo at a time. You don't really want to rush, but you are kind of following the thread that was already there. And now I'm going to work my way so that my needle is coming out of this cube. So now I'm going to take my needle down that second hole of the top SuperDuo and the top hole of the next SuperDuo. And then I'm going to take my needle up that cube. I'm going to show you one more time. Pick up a cube, take your needle down that cube, the next cube, and down a SuperDuo, just like that. And I'm going to follow my thread of connecting my SuperDuo, so I'm going to take my needle down the second hole of that SuperDuo and down the next second hole, as well as the top second hole of the SuperDuo, laying on top of that. And then I'm in position to take my needle up or down the cube next to it. And now I'm going to add another cube and take my needle down the next cube in line, as well as the SuperDuos that are aligning next to each other. This will make your project, your bracelet, a little bit stiffer because you are reinforcing you're reinforcing the middle vertebrae portion. As you can see here, it is what you're doing is you're creating your first 2 rows of your peyote stitch. So go ahead and complete adding 1 cube in between each set here, and then I will show you what to do when you get to the other end of your bracelet. Okay, so now that you've added your single cube between each set of 3s, and you're pretty much at the very beginning of your bracelet. And at this point I'm going to show you what you need to do to continue your peyote stitch. What I've done here is just add a couple of cubes, and you're just going to bring your project around and continue on each side. So to do that, with your thread coming out of the 1 cube at the very end, I'm going to pick up 1 cube, and I'm going to take my needle down the top bead of the SuperDuo, and then I'm going to take it down again on the adjacent SuperDuo on the other side. And at this point, what I'm going to do is begin my peyote stitch. So I'm going to pick up a cube and take my needle through that first cube. And I'm going to pick up a cube and take my needle through the next cube. Picking up a cube, skipping that cube that's below, and taking it through the next cube that's kind of jutting out. And this is a peyote stitch, and you're just going to keep doing it. Keep doing this pattern until you have gotten to the other side. And once you're done with that, I'm going to show you how to wrap it around. So now that you've gotten to the end of your bracelet, finished your peyote stitch, I'm going to show you one more time how to finish it up. I'm going to add a cube, and I'm going to skip that 1 cube and then take my needle through the next cube and pull. So it's finishing up my peyote stitch. What I'm going to do now is actually take my needle down that last cube, and at this point I'm going to add 2 cubes and take it through that top the top hole of that SuperDuo. And what I'm going to do now is actually add my toggle. And I'm using a pewter toggle in an antique brass finish. Brass finish that's going to complement my dark bronze that I have here. So I'm going to pick up 2 cubes and then my clasp. Drop that down, skip my brass, and then take my needle back through those 2 cubes, kind of pull so that it's close to the project. And I'm going to go take my needle back through the top hole of my SuperDuo. So it's going to sit nicely like that. At this point, what I'm going to do is pick up 2 cubes and I'm going to take it through the first cube on the other side of the bracelet, and I'm also going to take my needle through the next cube. Like I said, we're just mimicking what we did up top. And now we're gonna continue our peyote stitch by adding a cube, taking it through the next cube, adding a cube and taking it through the next. And you're pretty much going to do this until you get to the other side of your bracelet. And then when you're ready, you're going to add the 2 cubes as what we did here, and then add your toggle, and then take your needle back through what we did over here for your clasp. You're going to do the same thing on the other side, and then bring your needle so that you're ready for the last step. Okay, so now that I'm at the tail end of my bracelet, finishing up, this is where I've started because here's my tail. Finished up my 3rd row of peyote on the other side. I kind of flipped it around because I like to work like that better, I guess. And at this point, we're going to do the same thing that we did to the other end. I'm going to add 2 cubes, take that up through the top hole of that last SuperDuo. And I'm going to add 2 more cubes, or 3. I actually like a little longer tail for my toggle. And then your toggle onto your thread, and then skip your toggle and take your needle back down those 3 cubes, and then take it back through that top hole of your SuperDuo. You should pull nice and tight, just like that. And then add 2 more cubes to finish off that section of your project. Take it through the top SuperDuo or top cube, and then at this point you're ready to finish up your last round or your last section of your peyote stitch. Depends on how much how thick you want your band. I have 5 rows of peyote, and it's up to you if you want a couple more rows, and you just pretty much just keep adding, and you're going to keep going around in circular effect until you've achieved the width of your peyote band. So hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and that's pretty much how you make your vertebrae bracelet. Thanks a lot for watching. Check us out on Facebook and our other YouTube videos, and have a good day. Thanks.